Hey y'all, welcome back to Nini's Texas Kitchen. There goes my preheated oven. That was a surprise. I wasn't expecting that right then in the intro. But anyway, today we're gonna make a caramel pear poke cake. So for this cake recipe, I'm making my cake from scratch, but most people will just go buy a spice cake mix and make a spice cake mix from like Duncan Hines or Betty Crocker or whatever. But I'm not doing that. I'm going to make a homemade one, but I just want you to know it's perfectly normal and fine and acceptable and cool for you to use a spice cake mix. I didn't have one. I didn't feel like going to the store, so I'm just going to make one with the stuff I already have at home because I always have this stuff at home. So if you want to make the cake yourself, like I'm going to, then this is the ingredients that we're going to use. So I used 1.5 cups of cake flour that I sifted, along with 1 cup of all-purpose flour that I sifted. And then it also has 1 teaspoon of baking powder sifted in, 1 teaspoon of baking soda sifted in, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, all sifted in together in that. So I've just got my dry ingredients separate and I sifted them, and they're just going to wait for just a minute. Then for our spices that we need to go in with the cake, we need it calls for 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. I think that's too strong, so I put 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg into my cake. Then it takes 2.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ginger, and 1/2 teaspoon of allspice, and 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. Because ground cloves are strong, so you don't want to overdo it with the ground cloves. So 1/4 teaspoon of that. Then for the other like wetter ingredients, we have 2 cups of packed brown sugar here. Then I have 3/4 cup of vegetable oil. I have 4 eggs, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 1 cup of buttermilk, and 1 cup of sweet or whole regular milk, just white milk, okay? So I've got a 9x13" pan that I have already sprayed with nonstick spray, and my oven is preheated to 350 degrees. So for the cake, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sugar, and I'm going to take my oil, and I'm going to take my vanilla, and I'm going to mix those together right quick. And then I'm going to add in the eggs. Of course, you can add in, instead of a 1/2 cup of oil, you could put 1/2 cup of softened butter, but the oil just makes the cake mixture a little bit more moist. So now we're going to add in our eggs, a couple at a time. I'm going to speed up so we can get them going good. Then we'll add in the other 2. Alright, so I have my flour. Now I'm going to take my spices and I'm going to add them into this, and I'm going to use a wire whisk to mix them all together with the flour. So all my dry ingredients are combined together. Normally, if I wasn't making a video for this, I would have just sifted my spices right in with it and then kind of stirred it up a little bit. But I wanted to remember to tell you about the spices, so that's why I put them in a separate bowl. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to alternate it with my milk and my buttermilk. So I'm going to put a little bit of it in, about 1/3, and I'm going to start mixing that in, and I'm going to add a little bit of the milk and a little bit of the buttermilk. And I'm going to continue like that until I've got it all combined together. So I'm going to finish mixing it all together, and then I'll pour it into my pan and show you how to do the pears when we come back. All right, y'all, cake mix is done. So now I'm going to pour it into this 9 by 13 inch prepared pan. All right. So now we're going to put it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 30 to 40 minutes until a toothpick inserted and the center comes out clean. All right, now we're going to make our caramelized pears. So what I did, I had fresh pears, so I peeled about 3 large pears, washed them, diced them up into really small pieces, and then I tossed them in 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So that part's done. If you do not have fresh pears, you can use canned pears. Just make sure you drain them really, really well with a strainer, and then lay them on some paper towels to dry out and soak up a little bit of the liquid. And then you dice them up, put them in here with the lemon juice and everything, and then proceed from there. So the rest of the ingredients for these caramelized pears are, you need 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, which I did half of a teaspoon of nutmeg, and then 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. So I've got that here, and then I have 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and I have a half a cup of white sugar and a half a cup of brown sugar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cinnamon and nutmeg in there and the cornstarch. Make sure you get it all in there. And I'm going to coat all of these in that stuff. The cornstarch will help to thicken up the sauce a little bit. And now I put in my sugars. And we're going to toss it. Oops, I dropped one. So now we got to cook this over a medium heat till it forms a sauce, and then just let it kind of bubble and everything with the pears in it. The pears will make their own juice, so it'll start making juice in a minute as they heat up. And then we just sort of let it sit there and thicken and bubble until our pears get soft enough, and then we'll just turn off the heat and let them sit there and cool until our cake and everything is done. So the next part that you need for this recipe is caramel sauce. So I made some caramel sauce, and I have a video showing you how to make caramel sauce, but I'm not going to show you how to make it today because I've got that other video. But if you don't want to make your own homemade caramel sauce, you can buy a jar of caramel sauce, and once the cake is done and cooled down a little, you poke the holes and pour the caramel over it. Or you can buy Brock's or some other brand of caramels, unwrap them, put them in a pan, and melt them down with 2 tablespoons of heavy cream, and that'll make a nice thick caramel sauce for you. Then the end, we're going to top it all off with cream cheese frosting, and I'll just make that here in a little bit because I've shown y'all how to make cream cheese frosting about 1 billion times. So, because, you know, we really like it around here. So anyway, as you can see, it's starting to make the sauce. So now it's just a matter of cooking them down until they're softened. So once we're done with all of those components, we will come back and show you what to do with it at the end. All right, y'all, our cake came out, and it's been cooling here for about 10 minutes so I can touch the sides. So it's cool enough now I can poke the top. So I've got a wooden spoon handle, it's clean, and I'm just going to go down through here, and I'm just going to make pokes throughout the whole cake, like so. Just want to make sure you cover it everywhere because you want to get plenty of your sauce down in it. All right, I've already made my cream cheese frosting, and I took my caramel sauce and I heated it up in the microwave a little bit so that it will pour over, like so. And I'm gonna take the spoon and do it so I can make sure I get it everywhere, and then I'll spread it out. Because you want to get it in your holes that you poked in the cake. All right, now I'm just gonna spread it out best I can. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's gonna have the pears going over the top. All right. Caramel's warm. Okay. Now we'll take our pears, and as you can see, they came out good, nice and soft when they made their own caramel sauce too. So now I'm going to put these over the top of the caramel. Getting all the yummy sauce out of the pan also, like so. And then just spreading them out evenly across the top. And like I say, you can use apples. If you're gonna do apples, you wanna do like 4 medium-sized Granny Smith apples. And there is our pear, caramelized pear sauce over the top. Now, it's still kind of hot. I don't want to put my cream cheese frosting on until all this has time to cool off a little bit more, because it'll melt the buttercream. So once it's cooled off, we'll come back and spread that and then show you what a slice looks like. All right, y'all, it's been about 30 minutes and it's cooled down now. So we can go ahead and spread our icing over the top of it. So I'm going to dollop some around so that it'll spread easier over everything. All right. Now we're just going to spread it out over our pears, like so. And like I say, if you want to make this the easy way, you could just buy ready-made cream cheese frosting and put it over the top. It doesn't have to be perfect. The point is it tastes delicious? And the answer is yes, it does. And if you wanted a lighter version, you could probably just whip up some whipping cream and put over the top, or you could put some Cool Whip on there, you know, whatever. But this just gives it that extra something, since the cake has all those different spices in it. So now let's cut out a little piece and try it. It's gonna be gooey. Okay. Looks good. All right, let's try it. That's delicious. If you like my video making caramelized pear poke cake, please give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below, you guys. Share my video to others. Get them to subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't yet, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you guys watching. We'll see y'all next time in Nene's Texas Kitchen.